Tuesday, part 2, I'm going to get rid of my goldfish. I just needed a new flavor in my face.
No, I know. I just that thing you just told me, we need to talk more about that.
Okay, well,
not that, but
no, I know, but so much of the other thing, but so much of what part 2 on the Tuesday, just like regrouping about online and the way it makes like grown adults feel and the comparison, and maybe our brains just haven't evolved enough yet to understand that like what we see sometimes online isn't fact, and we just need to evolve with it, and
maybe the kids are more evolved in that way.
I know, and that's just what they have come to learn.
They like if they see what's kind of crazy, it's more like I think they're more desensitized to things. Actually, I know that, and we can actually talk more about that.
We'll do that on a Monday podcast, because the parenting one. If you guys have not listened, we dive into all the parenting topics on Monday, just sort of what is happening in our world as moms to tweens and teens. And it's a great one to listen to if you are like, what the hell?
Just a quick conversation is going to make you feel normal. But if we're saying like we haven't evolved enough, but maybe the kids, they don't actually take everything. I mean, I'm only hoping this is the case, because I think about some really serious things that they don't think are that serious anymore. That maybe the things that we are taking like so hard on ourselves, and thinking so much about, they've just like, I feel like moms like us too.
Well, crime is up. Serious crime's up amongst younger kids. Tweens and teens. Like, it's like a problem. Like, it's actually a fact.
No surprise.
Well, so technically then it would be impacting them in a negative way.
So in that way, but I mean like, that would be negative, desensitized. But I mean like the things that like for moms, also being a mom is like, it's a really insecure, for so many people. You think that you become an adult and you're no longer insecure about things. You're not worried about these things. But being a mom in general just isn't insecure. It's, we know you've never done it before. You want to do all the right things, and nobody's just like, I know exactly what to do. This is perfect. When we follow people, we follow them pretty closely, and probably not millions of them. So there's a few like either creators or families that we're following like intensely. We know everything about them. Whereas our kids are kind of following a whole bunch of people all the time, doing all these things. Nothing's that big of a deal. Maybe it's harder on us because we didn't grow up with it.
I know. I don't have the answers, but I was thinking two things that are unique about us are like, number one, online rhetoric of what people think of us doesn't bother us. Like, it doesn't impact us negatively. We don't go to bed thinking about it. We don't overthink what we said or did. We don't overthink about what conversations we're having. We don't second guess, like, which leads me to believe that we know ourselves well because we're comfortable in who we are, and we're not lying, and we're not trying to pretend we're not somebody. And then I was also thinking, I also had the conversation with these people. I really do feel like confidence is learned. I don't think you get it. I don't think you, I feel like you kind of have to earn it, but you can learn it. And I see some schools where the kids are just very confident people. And I know they take a lot more risks than other schools where they have to public speak. They have to, put themselves out there in front of people. They have to present. They have to take risks in front of people who could judge them in the environment. And they start young. So the risks of them doing things feel less scary because they are pushed to go do things earlier and take risks at a younger age. And I thought, I'm like, it's sort of crazy that as adults, people just think you should be confident because you look beautiful, you have this many children, you're successful, you have a husband who loves you, and you would think that they would just be confident because of where they have gotten and where they are in life. But I guess confidence can always never actually be there. If it can be situational, where you feel confident in a situation, but when you go home, you're still unsure of your actual self and what you offer. And if you have a little bit of doubt, going online and looking at people who are so confident and being so successful makes you feel like, why can't I be like that too? Like, why can't I What's wrong with me that I can't have 1 million followers? What's wrong with me that why don't people like me like that? Why aren't I relatable like that? I don't know.
Or not even 1 million followers, but even not being an influencer or an
Oh,
online
yeah.
creator at all. Just like, why doesn't my life, she looks so happy in her life. Why don't I feel that way? You know, there's this guy in a channel, and he stops people on the street. I've shown you him before, and I'm sure a lot of you have come across him, but he stops people on the street and he says to them, specific people that look super confident. And he's like, excuse me, like, you look really like confident in yourself and really comfortable in yourself. Where do you think you've achieved that? And like, he gets them to go back and say like how they got that way.
Oh.
And he also, and then there's another one that asks like, rich people, like, is this your yacht? Like, what do you do? But the one with the confidence is, cause you know, it's, you can see people. Sometimes you can like point people out that are walking down the street that just feel comfortable in their own bodies.
It's not the way they look. It's not how successful they are. It's really like a feeling that they present. It's this, it's like an inner shine.
You're okay with yourself. And that's what he wanted to know. How did you become okay with yourself?
Yeah.
But when I think about, you know, when people are like, you know, how do you get your confidence, all this stuff, it's like, you might think you have this like little toddler who's really, really extroverted and outgoing and not shy in front of people, and that they just have this like inner confidence. And you're like, they were just born with it. They might have been born with it, but every time they get a reaction, of somebody like celebrating their confidence or their comfort in themselves, it reassures them, and it can continue to be that way, or it can be crashed down later. And then like often it's the reaction of the world to the way that you're behaving. And I would say like for when I just initially think about I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons that we're comfortable with who we are, but when I think about your mom and my mom, like I see them as like unapologetically themselves.
I know.
And I don't know. And I always just felt, and I've known your mom for like a long time now. I didn't know her when you were younger, but based on the stories I hear, it sounded like she didn't really give a fuck about what other people were doing and how they were doing it. It's like, how is she going to do it herself and make it through?
How the fuck am I going to survive?
But I feel like us seeing them just be like not so worried about like the judgment of other people, it was a great example.
Yeah, and which led me to the other conversation we were having is there's two of us in this group that hang out that kind of have like a unique high school path and a unique like got kicked out, and you know, one's the husband and one's me, and the two of us are sort of like,
oh yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, shit. Oh, I did not know that.
And comes from like a background that maybe isn't as privileged as other people in the group that we hang out with, okay? And
I did not know that. I love that.
And we were making a joke because sometimes he will text me and be like, hey, because we'll see each other on the street, and I'll be like, he'll be like, hey, it's Cat. I'm like, hey. He's like, gonna be a great day. I'm like, gonna be a great day. And our spouses are like, oh my God, right? So it's funny because when you look at our history of growing up, they were the ones who were saying, the wives were saying, oh, it's like we were afforded so much. Like I lived 3 blocks from the school and I didn't ever walk to school. My mom drove us to school, and just sort of this idea of what, or do we have too much time thinking about ourselves because you are just not surviving? And I just really like
that sentence right there. I know people can argue that, but what you just said right there, I feel a lot of the time. Like I was so busy surviving that I didn't have time to think about myself.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way. Just like I didn't have time to sit and overanalyze how I felt and what my life was like compared to their life. When you're just surviving, you know, it's like.
Yeah. And so we were just having this conversation, and then it led me to like social media, because now I don't know if social media is a problem or we just have a bigger platform to feel bad about ourselves, because we probably always had this little bit of like insecurity, but now it just magnifies because you have more of a platform to be like, oh my gosh, there's like everybody's doing something but me.
Yeah. And if you think about the things, if you really think about those specific things online that trigger you. If you look back, because everything will be something. One will be like, oh, she's too skinny. Oh, she's too fat. Oh, she's too rich.
I
She's
know.
too happy. She has too much sex. She has all these things. Whatever those things that you
she's
find.
fake. She's got Botox.
Yeah.
She's got fake boobs.
Whatever
like, oh, of
those
course.
things are, those are your things.
So then I said, because this was like, I'm like, wait, I'm like, so you guys don't wake up every morning just like happy to be awake? I'm like, you're just not happy to be like,
well, that is the most annoying toxic positivity comment you could say to someone.
So they're like, no. I was like, what? I was like, what? I was like, I just wake up. I wake up. I'm thankful for the day. I'm like thankful. Like I don't want any more. I really don't want any more. I could survive in not much. There's not much more that I'm looking for in life, other than my kids just to stay healthy. And that's really like, that's so basic. And that's probably so fucking cliche. And they're like, no. I was like, what?
What do they want?
No, they just don't wake up. Like they out of the like 6 of us, 4 of them don't wake up just excited to be awake. And I was like this, whoa.
Because they wake up feeling the weight of the world.
Yeah. And I was like, what? Because, my husband, I would say, I don't feel stress. And I know that sounds crazy. I know sometimes I can feel stress in my face. Like but it's more like overstimulated.
That's when we know the Botox is
literally worn off. And I feel like sometimes I can get overwhelmed. Not anxious, overwhelmed. Like the feeling of like.
Just so you know, you might describe that as overwhelmed and someone else might describe that as anxious.
It's just like 4 kids are calling my name. Like someone's on the top floor, someone's on the other floor. Like it's all the input coming in at me at once. So yeah, totally. But for me,
I love how she said 4 kids. I think that Mark was the 4th.
Yeah, he's the 4th. Like, so he's there and he's like, Cat. And then he's like, Mom,
Yeah.
Mom. So it's more like, I'm like.
Overstimulated.
Yeah, I hate that too. But yes, I would say that I get overstimulated, not a feeling of like despair or like, oh, like I don't get stuck. I don't get.
I feel like my daughter gets overstimulated at moments. Like she feels uncomfortable, like, ugh, but then not particularly anxious.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 very different things that I think it need to be defined by people. And then I think people just naturally wake up and they're overwhelmed and anxious about what has to get done and how they feel about the day. And I just was
I think those people probably set goals too.
They kind of just blew my mind. I really, it's so naive of me to just think that most people don't wake up thankful for waking up for the day. And I know that sounds, I was in shock. I was like this. Oh, I'm like, wait,
that makes me so, that's like, I would immediately be like, tell me more about these feelings. Like, what does it feel like? What is on your mind that makes it feel heavy?
Just anxious. Like at the day, the things, it's just everything can feel overwhelming. And I was like, wow, it was a full eye opener. I'm like, how many people just actually wake up and are happy to wake up for the day, like excited for the day? I don't know, because maybe people don't talk about that they're not excited for the day.
I think a lot. I mean, I guess it depends also on the people you hang out with and the conversations you have, and the openness and vulnerability with the group you're with. I would say in a lot of the people, there are people for sure I know who aren't sharing the truth of the feelings, and there just might not be time for that.
Feelings though, and wake up feeling like, I'm not always like yay, but nothing phases me so much so that when I go to bed, it's the day's done. I wake up for a new day.
Yeah,
I'm not.
But I could say, in a lot of the people that I speak with, they actually speak a lot about. They talk a lot about how they do feel like that.
Like overwhelmed by
like another day, like fuck, here we go. Like, and those people, it's just they're just looking forward to that vacation or that holiday that's coming up because it's just going to be a schlep until then. Yes, people like that. I felt
like such a crazy person. I was like this, oh my God. I felt like I was missing something.
Well, you also you've designed a life where there's room for appreciation and fun. Some people, even if they're going out to a dinner or they're going to a party, it's a thing on the checklist that they have to do, but they haven't designed a space where they're actually getting to have their own fun too. Or also people can be really overwhelmed in motherhood. I was speaking to someone recently and she said that
listen, I do get overwhelmed by that, but not anxious by that.
mhm.
Like I do get overwhelmed, but I'm just going to fix the problem. If there's if
there's a problem, yo, she'll solve it.
I'm
Pick
not
up the
like,
mic.
that's how I see it. It's either, I say to my kids, if there's a problem, you either fix it or you let it go. Why live in a problem state?
Mhm.
That sounds crazy to me. Nothing's a problem because everything is solvable.
The other thing is a lot of people, if they've grown up in a world where there is always kind of a problem or an issue, they feel comfortable in that place. And if they didn't have those, they'd feel unsafe. Like they'd feel like,
oh, I know those people.
and it feels like, well, if there's not something that needs like
then
addressing as a problem,
gonna happen.
then this is too good. It just can't be that good.
I really do think confidence and optimism and gratitude and thankfulness all go together. I think because you have to appreciate yourself in order to be confident. You have to be thankful for yourself in order to be confident. You know, and when my kids go to bed or when they're like talking badly about themselves in terms of just being like, I'm terrible at this, or I'm like, oh my God, you're being so mean to your body right now. Like your body works so hard for you and you're gonna trash talk it like that and be so mean to it. Like to empathize with their bodies about what they're saying
so funny,
about them.
Your reaction to speak the way how you would speak to them in that situation is like so you.
Yeah. I'm like, because I'm offended. I'm offended.
Immediately thinking when they're talking like that, like my angle, which is obvious, would be like, you are so lucky that your body that you're working right now, that you get to live in this house, that I get to be your mom. I mean, do you want me to show you what the other situation would be like? Get yourself together.
No, I'm just like, I feel offended for their bodies, because if you separate your brain from your body and actually like, if you're like, oh, my stomach or my stomach's so fat and I'm so like, my jeans don't fit, be like, you are so rude to them. Like you're actually, I feel badly for my body and their bodies. I'm like, that is so, my kids don't say that, by the way, but if they're like, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm like, your body has worked so hard for you. You are in puberty. You be nice to them.
Oh my God. That wouldn't even cross my mind.
Oh, but really have empathy for your body.
I'm like, you're lucky you have that body.
Same, both.
Yeah.
But if you get them to feel like their body is like a tiny baby puppy, like you gotta take this poor thing.
Be appreciative that you have that body
and it works for you.
And I made it for you, so don't be rude to what I made. And I made it really good.
I said to Max yesterday, I'm like, I was making at 9:30 at night, 9:30
second dinner
p.m. I made a full flight of pancakes. Okay, like
flight.
Yeah, because you can't just make one. You have to make a flight. Okay, so you have to make a full flight of them. So like,
do people actually like the taste of a pancake?
He loves pancakes.
It's not just the syrup.
No,
it's the pancake.
He loves it.
I have no appreciation.
So I make a full flight. Okay, like from scratch, a flight of pancakes. So
I can just imagine him eating them.
Oh, the whole flight, the whole serving, however many it's supposed to serve, the whole serving, because you can't just make for one, which would be reasonable.
We're serving dinner at 3:30. I was a little concerned.
He had a dinner before that, and then he had 3 peanut butter and jam sandwiches, and then he came home.
Thank God for peanut butter and jam sandwiches.
He loves them too.
Oh.
You know, best thing schools did was ban them.
Yeah,
because we didn't overserve them.
Yeah,
they're a nice go-to.
Daddy's always just in the kitchen, 2 slices of bread and a peanut butter and jelly. He doesn't have to ask for anything.
Nah,
put it together himself.
Fucking
doesn't
amazing.
even use a plate, just in his hand.
So I'm making a flight of pancakes, and I look at him, and I said to him, I'm in no bra. I'm not in matching pajamas. Look at me making you this flight of pancakes. You're so lucky to have me.
I know.
I'm like, I am.
They really are.
I go, I am standing here just chit-chatting away with you. We were laughing about something. I scared him. So he walked in. I guess it was a bad game. They were not in a good mood. But I didn't know this because I wasn't there and I wasn't watching.
Mark this morning.
You did? So I hid. He was like talking and I hid. It was nighttime. It was like 9:30 at night and I hid.
Yes.
He turns the corner and he was like, kind of mad at her and they started laughing and I was like, oh, and he was like, what's wrong with you?
I did that to Mark when he came out of, because I knew that he thought I was downstairs. So I went upstairs because I was waiting to get in the bathroom and I did it to him and I scared him. I'm like,
oh yeah. So he tried to scare me this morning. He couldn't do it. So I scared him and then I was making pancakes. I'm like, you're just so lucky to have me. I'm like, it's just, you're so lucky.
I know that sounds like a joke.
No, I was really serious.
Like, you know, people are like, oh, you're so lucky I'm your mom. But like, if you actually think about all the things that your children are so lucky that they got you, and you believe that, they will feel lucky. If you're always like, if you're apologizing for the kind of mom you are, you haven't
he does
done
call
this,
me like, you are so weird. I was like, I
but
know,
like,
but
if
you're
you,
lucky
but if
for
you,
that.
yeah, but if you were like, I know I'm such a
no.
weird, like you own what you are and who you are as a mom, and let them know that they're lucky and feel that they're lucky.
Oh, and by the way,
they will be lucky.
When they make fun of me now, I redirect. I'm like, actually, I don't appreciate when you say that about me. I'm actually a really strong, I'm smart because I was trying to help with math. Like, you can't do that. I'm like, actually, I might not be able to solve the problem, but I'll figure out how to do it. I was like,
I will turn to my Instagram following and I will ask them the answer, and they will give it to me.
And they did.
And they did.
Everyone was different. But anyways, I said, I'll figure out how to solve it, you know? Anyways, the whole point being was I thought everything is so intertwined, and confidence and positivity and being thankful for what you are and what you have doesn't mean you're always going to feel great about where you are or what you're doing or the way you look, because being ugly one day and pretty the next is a real thing.
Oh, and it has nothing to do with the way you look.
No, or the way you feel. But you can be ugly one day and really pretty the next, and put the same makeup on and do your hair.
And sometimes it's sometimes it's just like in your eyes.
No. We definitely both have ugly days. 100%.
It seeps through. Everyone can see when you're having an ugly day.
Oh yes,
and they don't think you look pretty that day either.
No, they don't. I don't know many. Yeah, everyone can have ugly days. Everybody. No one talks about that. That day that you're ugly.
Oh yeah,
you're ugly.
I mean, we
that
do.
Day.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like facts.
Yeah, facts.
Like it's not. No,
you ate the same thing the day before.
You might say you look beautiful, but no, we know you could look better. I know you could look better, and I know you're not giving it your all right now, and that's not your fault because you tried, but it didn't come through today.
Also lucky that you can have those days, because some people just have ugly days.
That's very true too.
Not because they're ugly. You know, someone who's just not charming when you talk to them. It's like an immediate, like someone can be really traditionally unattractive, let's say, okay? But when they talk and their personality
that can be
them so attractive, because it's like they know they have something good to offer. They're not trying too hard. They actually like who they are on the inside, and you can feel it.
You know,
recently, just a couple nights ago, someone was talking to us, and I was like, not particularly charming.
Yeah,
but not mean, not bad.
Just not like welcoming, not like a good woo.
Not a great energy.
Yeah. So that was my roundup. I've really been thinking about it when I heard other people say they really didn't wake up happy, or like not happy's wrong word. There's so many emotions that you have to dissect when you wake up feeling like. So.
Oh, you can't wake up feeling like P. Diddy anymore, by the way.
No, I just stopped myself.
I know.
Because
nobody wants to feel like it.
And I think majority of people don't realize how they wake up. I want everyone to stop and think about how you wake up. Like, how do you ever stop and think about how you wake up? And I think the way you greet your kids in the morning is such a huge impact on how they will wake up in the morning.
I only see two.
So they wake up, but when you saw them,
and if they walk around, I'll be like, "Hey,"
I'm like, "Good morning!" Like I'm so excited to, excited to see them. I'm not like, "Hi." It is like I'm a dog.
Yeah,
like it's like I am so happy to see you right now. I think that's important, because I don't know how many people in their lives are going to be happy to see them in terms of real excitement when they go somewhere. So I try to be there, like when they get in the car from school.
I know.
I just try to be, I am happy to see them, but I think I want them to see I'm happy to be awake with them.
I know. I went on, because TJ's now on top bunk and he's really high. So it's really hard to get to him. So I got on a chair, because he was still asleep. I got on a chair to stand so I could lean over his head. He's like, look how tall I am. And then I was like, shit, like I miss him when he's sleeping. I'm like, did you think about me while you were sleeping?
Because he doesn't come down and visit you anymore.
I mean, I wouldn't say not never, but like he's pretty cozy up there now. And I'm like, but like, it's like, and then you just have to go drop them off at school.
I know.
It's such a weird world.
I know. And I don't want to, I've had a lot of FaceTime with them. It is a little bit nice to do like a break.
Of course. But I just can't believe they leave us all day like that.
That went by so fast.
But you know what? It's really true about feeling thankful is whenever I feel like a moment of whatever.
This is really tricky because you have anxiety, but you're positive. and you're thankful for the day.
I don't think the two go. I don't think you like just because you're anxious, you're pessimistic or negative. I don't think they're the same thing.
But,
Because I'm anxious, I'm not depressed.
I guess some people's anxiety feels overwhelming and feels negative. Like it feels like a feel of doom. Like you feel like, right, a feeling of like, I don't want to.
Even if I feel super anxious and like, well, I feel less of it now because of the medication, but it never felt like it's I'm in a bad situation. Like this is like the world is bad. I feel bad. It just felt like anxious, but
overstimulated.
Not like this is bad.
Yeah, but it was harder to get through the day.
It just felt not relaxing.
Maybe that's what they feel. Not like the anxiety feels like not like it feels like that's not a nice feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know that feeling.
But whenever I do have any sort of a moment or whatever, again, a lot of what we're saying feels cliche here, but like I think about those 4 people that will always be my family that I made and are there. Like, I feel so cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
I did that.
I don't even feel like a grown up. Yet I have people that live in my house that are taller than me.
Yeah.
And they're doing all right. And even if they were doing worse, that would still be
pretty great
because
something to do.
That's so cool. I know.
Their hobbies. Our children are the hobbies right now.
And it's like, it's such a, I don't use the word blessing, but whatever, like a more cool word for that is, that's what they are.
They are your walking gratitude.
I mean,
they're
our
your
7
walking
kids
grats.
are like, what the hell?
What the hell?
Like
they're great people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they came from us.
I like all of them. I like being around. Not always. There are moments. Swear to God. Oh man, boys are just like little puppies.
Yes, the boys and sometimes girls.
It's get the fuck outside.
Yes.
Taylor and I were going to lose our shit on them. They were going so crazy because if you don't put them to,
Yeah.
The 3 of them, I looked out the window and the 3 of them were playing hockey together on the street. And I go, I gave you 3. I gave you built-in friends. Go and play.
And they did.
Yes, they did.
And they came back fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it ended in a fight, but.
You didn't care.
No. And their fights are so like, I came home one night and one of my kids got into a physical fight and one of mine kind of beat up the other one.
Recently?
Mm-hmm. I think I forgot to tell you. Oh,
God.
I know.
Natalie.
And it was in front of my mom.
Wait, again? Like Saturday?
It was last week.
Oh my God. Well, I know the big one. We were away on tour. Then there was this one. He brought a hammer out of that one.
That was one I came home. I was out with Mark and I came. Where was I? Maybe Mark wasn't there. And they did it in front of my mom, which I thought was so disrespectful. And I thought to myself, like, I would never do something like
difference
that
here.
In front of my grandma?
Yeah. You embarrassed?
You're too comfortable. Aren't you embarrassed? Exactly. Aren't you embarrassed?
Yeah.
In front of grandma.
Okay, so what happened?
Anyway, so there was like a real thing. One of them was really scared. One of them was trying to help the other one, whatever. And I was like, and at the end, one of mine goes, my friends and their brothers physically fight a lot. This is really normal. And in comparison, the amount of times we actually physically fight, it's not that much.
You're I was just like,
I was sitting in my head and I was so mad at the time. And I was like, you're right. Like it's not like you set the house on fire.
When grandma's there.
No, when grandma's there. But also,
like pick and choose your battles, kids.
Boys used to do really, really naughty. Like your brothers must have done really naughty things.
Oh, God, they did naughty things.
Though our sons do the naughty things that your brothers did when they were. It would be like, oh my gosh, they have to go into like juvie.
Yeah. Yeah, we were so bad,
right?
Yeah,
it's kind of weird how our standards of like naughty
level raised up. Yeah, they really have gotten out of hand.
I mean, I always think about this one when they laugh about it now that they opened up
the window
and they put the hose and they flooded the neighbor's house.
But we don't know how the parents felt. Like as kids, it was funny, but as adults, we could have been like, that was really shitty because that would have been really,
really bad.
Really bad.
That is bad.
So we don't know what happened. Like as kids, we're like, oh my gosh, but as they might have been some shit that went down amongst the parents and the kids because maybe the kid didn't really feel it, but
they might have moved a week later and they had no idea why. It was because they flooded their neighbor's basement.
Yeah. But because that's like
bad.
That's
criminal.
And a lot of damage and a lot of fucking money, Like that's sort of mean spirited.
Really mean.
And not even
really bad.
Anyways, I was not laughing, but I was
oh gosh, I have one of those right now. Somebody last week out of school found a dog poo bag and he threw it, but he did not expect that it was going to hit a tree and that shit was going to fly
back at him
into girls' hairs and people's backpacks.
So what happened? Your kid didn't do that.
No, but my kid saw it and my kid was like, it was a really unfortunate outcome. My son didn't use those words, by the way. It was an unfortunate outcome, but he did not intend. He intended to throw the bag of shit, which, okay, he shouldn't have done at the tree. But he did not intend for it to fly in people's hair and backpacks.
So what happened? They'll have to go home?
He got in trouble. Apparently, because the girl that got the most poo in her hair was the coolest girl. All the other girls would have been such a problem crying, having to go home. She washed out and carried on. She was the perfect person to get shit in her hair. But I'm like, do you know why shit in your hair is so disgusting? He goes, because her hair was blonde and you could see it. I go, no, because she had poo in her hair. Like, that is the
disgusting.
Worst. But he's like, he didn't mean for that to happen. So yeah, anyways, that's
I think the bigger problem is they can get canceled so much faster for doing things. And if you
actually, that's exactly right. That's why they can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, because it goes everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
you're right.
And if you go to a party and something happens, you're there, you are part of the problem. It's like you can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's not just one person. You all go down in the situation.
Yeah.
They're so aware of everybody.
Yeah.
Just you're like, you just avoid it. You're like, all right, I'm just not going to go there. Because I can get in trouble for if someone takes a video and people are drinking and vaping.
I guess it's going to save a lot of maybe bad things that would have happened. But then are they really getting to explore the way I know you see that spider?
I'm going to get it. It's crawling.
There was a fucking mammal on my floor and I lost it and we went to bed.
I'm going to kill it right now. Let us weigh in and let us know if you wake up positive or negative. Like what do you actually wake up and think? What's your first thought in the morning? Like, oh God, or oh my gosh.